I know I'm opening up my talk on health and wellness and lasers with this idea that the food you eat is really critically important, that you make the right choice when you choose to eat foods, when you choose what you're going to put in your mouth and into your body. You have to look at it as either it's has a life principle. In other words, it's live food, LIVE, live food, just like this live feed I see on my Facebook camera there. It says live food. Or is it dead and devitalized food? Food which has no life principle. In other words, processed food. Food which has been preserved so it lasts in a box for years. Canned food. Much food which has been over processed and over treated with chemicals and colorings and, you know, packaged in plastics so the plastics leach into the food too. All of these types of foods are really, really unhealthy for us. And over time, I mean, they might have a little pop, like a sugar pop, because you eat it and you get that little boost, because it's a straight up carbohydrate. But the long term problem is it puts toxins in your body. It actually turns into sludge poison within your system. And then your body has to work hard to get rid of that extra, garbage that was in the food that was devitalized, which was not really food, just something to carry sugar or salt or sweet. And this is a real problem for us as humans. All right, if you just tuned in, I have no idea what time it is. I'm kidding, because we have a new clock. We're 20 minutes in. My name is Dr. Tread Rissacker. I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I am licensed in the state of New York and the state of Florida. Been in practice for 33 years. And yes, I'm still in my 40s, so I went to college when I was just a little kid. People say, God, you look so young. I'm like, yeah, right, yeah, sure. I'm 61. And I've seen a lot of different ideas, and I've experienced a lot of different, things in my life as a chiropractor and watching healing. And I've also watched the failure, in my opinion, the failure of medicine. I mean, medicine and the use of chemicals and drugs to change your symptoms without really giving you anything to be healthy is a failed principle. It doesn't really give you health. It treats symptoms, and God knows that symptoms, I don't like symptoms either, just like you don't like symptoms. But would I rather erase the symptom and not know what's wrong with me and not do anything to why the symptom occurred? Or would I rather live with the symptom and use the symptomatology to determine if what I'm doing is the right idea and the right thing for the problem? You have this alarm system in your house which monitors all the windows and the doors and the perimeter, and it's an expensive alarm system. And all of a sudden one of your window sensors goes off and tells you that there's been a breach in one of the windows. Are you gonna just run down and shut it off and forget to look at it? And why did you spend so much money on such an expensive alarm system if you're not going to go look at where the breach is? And you might find out it's really something is happening. So that's what your body does. Your body gives you symptoms. It gives you aches and pains and difficulty sleeping and weird nausea, and it creates sometimes the need to go to sleep, lethargy, and all kinds of different symptoms. And these symptoms are a sign to you that something is wrong, that your body is not functioning in a way, and it's giving you symptoms. Yet we're so trained to take that symptom and apply it to a pill or a drug based on your training. What you've been trained to do this. You've been trained by the media and by the TV and by radio and by your parents and by the doctors that when you have a certain symptom, you can apply a certain drug to that symptom, and you know very well what the drug is. I mean, you know more about it than even your doctor does because you've been trained and taught. So let's go. Let's use a few examples here, and I know you'll remember this. Let me get Evan on this. Evan, what do you think when I say plop plop fizz fizz?
Oh, what a relief it is!
And what would you
Alka-Seltzer
for what?
For indigestion, heartburn.
That's right.
Any kind of stuff.
And my man's not a doctor, but he's trained to know what to use when you got indigestion.
Right.
What do you do if you can't poop?
You take a laxative.
That's right. Right.
Many forms.
And there's not a lot of neat little sayings for it because it's
No.
it's not very pretty. But the truth is we know if you take a suppository.
Right.
Or what's the other one? X-Lax.
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 Chocolate.
Right. Yeah.
I played a nasty trick on somebody with that
Yeah.
sometime.
Well, we don't want to.
We don't want to go there.
No. So your symptomatology. How about the little purple pill,
Oh yeah, that's for ED.
Prilosec?
Oh no, Prilosec. I'm thinking the blue pill.
Yeah. Well, we know. Yeah, the blue one is.
The
for
blue
ED,
is for
right,
ED.
right,
The
right.
purple one is for the indigestion.
So what would be the signs of a heart attack? Not working properly.
Well, let's just say you start to get numbness and tingling down
Left arm
or right arm, whichever one it is. Tightness in the chest, shortness of breath,
Right.
different things like that.
All right. And let me ask you the symptoms of a stomach which is starting to have ulcers or indigestion. What would be some of the symptoms of that?
I would say I would guess like gurgitation, things like that, acid reflux.
That's right. Yeah.
Things
Okay.
like that.
So we're very trained on how to recognize problems.
Okay.
Let me ask you, what are the signs of a healthy heart? How would you describe the beats, how it should ramp up, how it should cool off, how long it should last? Do you know any of that? Do you have any?
See, I don't know any information about things like that. That's why a cardiologist does.
Well, and there's a reason for that.
Right.
Because they're not teaching you about normal function. They're only
Right.
teaching you about symptomatology, so you know where to go very quickly and what to take. And
Right.
same thing with your stomach. Well, how would be let me tell you about a normal heart function, okay?
Okay.
Your heart is designed to last 120 years, okay? It's mandated to circulate the entire blood volume every minute. It circulates all of your blood volume every minute.
Okay.
If you were to exercise and raise your heart rate, normal heart rate is between 65 and like 85 beats per minute. That's a nice normal heart rate. Pressure, 120 over 70.
Okay.
Those are normal numbers.
Okay. You have your O2 as
you have
well
your-
as like 97, 98,
You
your
need
saturation.
to be 98%
Yeah.
saturated. That has nothing to do with the heart.
Yeah.
That has to do with blood supply and
Right.
the ability for the oxygen to carry it.
Right.
And the other part is, so a healthy heart also is something that if you were to exercise for 2 minutes and raise your heart rate up to, just to get the heart rate beating faster at 120, it should go down to its resting rate in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Now, I'm telling you this now, and because we don't know what a normal heart should do. We know what a sick heart does and how the symptoms of it. And what do you think? If you lock an idea in your mind and you focus on it long enough, like to make money, to build a house, to get your hair cut, or to have a sick heart, it's what you think about most that really creates your realities. So they know without a doubt that if we can teach a person how to recognize every illness and sickness, in a way of protecting you, it's really it's counterproductive. So we need to focus more on healthy body functions, the healthy function of the body versus all of the sicknesses and symptoms and diseases that occur because it's just a better idea. That kind of makes sense?
It does. It really does.
It does.
You have to have a
take
healthy
things for
heart.
granted.
Yeah.
Right.
All depends on what you eat too.
In other words, we were created perfectly by God, by our Creator, and we interfere with the function of that energy by interfering with it, by eating improper foods, by having thoughts that are not positive, having thoughts counterproductive of health. In other words, if you have fear, you can shut off the arteries. You can close down your arteries with fear because the blood needs to be shunted to the muscles away from the digestive organs. And that's what fear does. When you see something scary and you think you might have to run or fight, Your blood supply goes away from your digestive organs and goes into your muscles because you got to fight. That's why they tell you not to swim on a full stomach. You ever heard that?
All the time. My parents used to tell me that. Don't go swimming after you eat.
And why do you think?
Worst thing to do.
And the reason why is because the blood that needs to digest your food is in your stomach. It's in your blood vessels around your gut, not in your muscles.
Right.
So as you start moving your muscles, you'll run out of energy because there's not enough blood supply, enough sugar there. And you can create that same scenario with fear mentally. And what's more fearful than I got pain in my left arm? I feel like for some reason I'm noticing some fullness on my chest. I've been reading about this, and now that the blood supply is affected, and you can precipitate and create sickness and disease just as easy as you can create health and wellness. That's really important to understand that. It all begins between your ears. There isn't a single thing that we have in our environment, in our world, from this door I'm looking at, to all these wonderful microphones, to the clothing, thank God, that Evan is wearing.
Thank God.
and realize that somebody thought about this. They saw a need to transfer this voice into this electrical device to clothe Evan, and nothing, it didn't just appear like a magical poof.
Yeah.
Somebody created it, and that's the creative principle. And that creative principle creates an enormous amount of happiness. It picks the right wives. It gives us time and patience with our children. It can also be the opposite, because a thought is either good or bad. It's either positive or negative. And if you're focused on that negative side of thoughts and you're creating fear through thinking you have diseases when you might not, and you focus on it long enough, and you go to enough doctors to look for it, I promise you're going to find that disease process. It's law. Yet we don't really want to accept that we create all these negative things too. See, we're okay with creating like the happiness and, hey, look at the job I did, look at my business, and look at this beautiful house I built. Oh, wait a minute. Did I build that beautiful cancer too? I got colon problems and did I build that also? It's possible. That's really what I'm saying here. You have to really look at the ideas and the thoughts that go through your head and mind as to what you think about and what you choose to focus on. Which is a good reason to turn off the darn TV. Yeah, I got my dose this morning. 10 minutes is all it took. I was done. I was like, oh my God, we're going to all die in some nuclear war, right? In Ukraine, they're shooting people in the knees. I was like, click that off. All right, how am I going to get out of this feeling? All right, I'm going to go. I went outside, I threw the bone for the dog. She went and chased it a little bit, looked down at the water, took a few deep breaths, came in, and I was like, all right, you're going to just forget about that image. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. You create your life in your thoughts way before it ever turns into a physical manifestation. And I want to thank Evan for giving me a little bit of feedback there on what people think.